Okay, so we're going to try this digital teaching thing. And I'm sorry that I couldn't be there with you today, but this is the next best thing. So, I need to teach you probably one of the best research strategies that you'll ever learn. And you'll use it throughout your entire educational career. And it is a system of using note cards. So, we're going to be viewing a slideshow while at the same time coming back and checking in with Digital Noodleman. And yes, Mr. Herrera gave me this idea, so we can credit him for his ideas. So today I'm going to show you how to conduct research. And this is going to be a technique, like I said, that you can use throughout your entire education career. The first thing that you're going to do is need your note cards. And that's why you have your note cards today. Note cards have two primary uses in researching. The first is to keep track of the sources that you're using so that you don't mix up where information comes from. And that's what a lot of you guys did during the Civil Rights Movement project, is you forgot to identify where your evidence came from. And that's going to be really important anytime you do a large research type project. The second thing is to organize your information from your sources so that when you're getting ready to put together your speech, your presentation, your slides, you can take these note cards and put them into different order so that they make sense to you and almost write out a script for you in its entirety based on your research. So, how do you begin? Well, let's pretend, here I am, that my topic is JFK's assassination. The first thing you're going to do is you can only start with one source at a time. There is no use going to a library or to the back of our tables and taking more than one book at one time, because you simply cannot look through everything at the same time. Most of you are going to have the best bet by starting with your textbook. So with my sample topic of JFK's assassination, I'm going to start by going to our TCI textbook. Once I decide what my first source is going to be, that's when I start with my note cards. Source cards are used to help us organize what information came from which source. If our starting point is going to be our textbook, then we're going to start by getting out one note card. That one note card is going to be labeled with a capital letter in the upper right-hand corner. For every time you change a source, you change cards. So you can have source A, source B, source D, source F, it doesn't really matter. But this is how you're going to identify which information came from which source. For example, here you see I have taken the bibliographic citation for our textbook and I have identified it as source card A. For my topic, JFK's assassination, I'm going to the book and I'm using chapter 48, section 4. So I've identified that on my source card so that I know where to go back and get information if I need more. When I'm ready to start pulling information out of the textbook, I now switch to an information card. Notice at the top corner, my information card is labeled with a number 1 to identify that this is the first card from my source A. I can have any number of cards from source A, depending on how much information I wish to take out of this source. Here, you'll notice that I wrote down, not in quotation, but paraphrased in my own words, that in November of 1963, John F. Kennedy and his wife traveled to Texas to build support for his reelection. On November 22nd, the Kennedys and the Texas governor and his wife drove in an open convertible through downtown Dallas. You limit the amount of information put on each card so that when you are getting ready to organize your information into a story, you don't have too many separate pieces of information on one particular card. So when I'm ready to go to my next card, I notify up at the top corner, this is my second card from my source A, and this is an information card. On this card, again, I am paraphrasing, Lee Harvey Oswald shot President Kennedy from the Texas School Book Depository. He fired 3 shots. 1 missed, 1 hit Kennedy in the neck, and 1 hit him in the head. Once I feel that I have enough information from that particular source, I can go ahead and get a secondary source. In this case, I have a primary source. My primary source is Life magazine, President John F. Kennedy's edition, Life 1917 to 1963, volume 55, number 22. Notice in the top right-hand corner, I now have switched to my capital letter B, identifying that this is a new source. When I'm ready to start taking information from this source, I will start a new information card. I go back to the number 1 because this is my first card from source B. Here, I have taken information from the editorial written by George P. Hunt, and I have quoted directly since I have taken his words. All of us are sad that he is dead. He was a fine president. It is hard for me to forget one slight incident, one that revealed to me the guts he had. Again, every new piece of information I have will create a new information card as long as it comes from the same source. When I change sources again, I will go back and create a new source card C, and start pulling my information.